The Democrats have completely lost it. They got busted in such an embarrassing way, worse than the Epstein email hoax they tried to pull just the other day. Today, they tried another one and they were exposed, except for this time, they pissed Trump off. And now he's calling out the big guns and he's naming names. He is ordering. Matter of fact, let me not even talk about it too much. In this video, I have got some clips. You're going to hear from Epstein's lawyer, not one of the ones that everybody been making their rounds. This interview just dropped today and totally blows up the Democrats' big hoax on Epstein and finally puts a nail in that coffin. But what it did, it allowed them to step into the bear trap that Trump set for them. Because see, the Democrats have been the ones pushing for these Epstein files, pushing. And if Trump would have came into office and would have demanded all of this Epstein stuff, people would have said, oh, he's not focused on the economy and the country. You know the Democrats would have did that. So what did he do? He came in and went right to business. They've been pushing the Epstein. And there's one clip I have, and you're not going to believe it, of a high-ranking Democrat that went on Morning Joe, left-wing MSDNC Morning Joe, and got called out over the Epstein files, not the hoax, but they were pressured and asked questions about why didn't they do it during Biden? This is the first time I've seen a Democrat not just ask the question and then left alone. He was pressed and he starts sweating and looking crazy. You're going to love it. So stay with me with these clips because some of these are just dropped today and they blow the whole Epstein hoax thing up. So let's get into this. As you can see right here, it says the U.S. Department of Justice investigates Epstein's alleged ties to Clinton and banks after Trump request. Now, let me show you what set President Trump off that made him say, we pulling out the big guns. The official Democrats account just deleted this because it was a made up lie. Check out what they posted today. And they were busted out. So we know with the emails, they put those out, redacted the names, but then come to find out the name that was redacted was Virginia Giuffre, who has been open, upfront, candid, and blunt about Prince Andrew, about Alan Dershowitz, about Bill Clinton. And she's also been emphatic that President Trump never did anything. She never saw him there. He was nothing but nice. And the fact that President Trump is the one that reported Epstein to the FBI, the Democrats love to leave that out. See, everybody wants something to be wrong with Trump so bad so they don't have to deal with the fact that they may have been wrong. So rather than them being wrong, they're going to say, there's got to be something about him, something. Nobody on this planet is perfect. And I'm sure if you dig it up, the man might dig in his nose, pass gas at inappropriate times. Who knows? But as far as criminal, he has been the most investigated man on the planet. And if the best they can come up with is fake email hoaxes, I think he's looking pretty good. But check this out. So it says, documents show Donald Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. At the time, Trump was already president and Epstein was already a convicted offender. And this is the so-called email smoking gun, where it says David Weisel, Hansen, Trump. He's such a snooze. Who else is down there? Barry's color for holiday. That means Glenn, check out his red hair. Okay, Dylan, well, want to see you, always want to see you. Where are you having Thanksgiving? And somehow the Democrats associated that with Trump having Thanksgiving with Epstein. But what the Democrats in their desire and their TDS being so outrageous and them being so deranged, they forgot as the president, his schedule is public record. And guess where President Trump was on Thanksgiving in November of 2017? He was honorably serving our troops in Afghanistan, literally serving them, making plates for them on Thanksgiving Day in Afghanistan. And once the Democrats realized this, because they put it out there and it's like they get their marching orders and they all did it and all their little minions. Now they all had to go back and start deleting and plucking because it was fake. But it gets better than that. Since they did that, President Trump said, okay, now that the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try and deflect from their disastrous shutdown and all of their other failures, I will be asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan, Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him. This is another Russia scam with all arrows pointing to the Democrats. Records show that these men and many others spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. Stay tuned. So they pissed him off and he said, okay, y'all want to do it like this? We're going to do it just how you wanted it. I'll play the game how you want to play the game. And you notice Bill Clinton's been really quiet. He hadn't said much. And I understand why. Because of things like this. This is Virginia Giuffre on the picture giving Bill Clinton a massage. There's Bill and his buddy Jeff. And this is the oil painting that Jeffrey Epstein has in his house. When you enter his home of Bill Clinton in a blue dress with red high heel shoes on. Now, what type of power do you have to have a president's picture wearing a dress with heels on that he sees and every other guest sees when they enter the mansion? This picture, you know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. That picture says a lot about who is really in control. Speaking of bills, another bill they never like to bring up is Bill Gates. Let's listen to his wife. You want to listen to me? Let's listen to his wife as she lays out why she divorced him. Check this out.
You know, it was also widely reported that Bill had a friendship or business or some kind of contact with Jeffrey Epstein, and that you were not, that was very upsetting to you. Did that play a role in the divorce at all in this process?
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing. It was many things that I did not like, that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you made that clear to him?
I made that clear to him. I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time.
Did you?
Yes, because I wanted to see who this man was. And I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards. So, you know, my heart breaks for these young women because that's how I felt. And here I'm an older woman. My God, I feel terrible for those young women. It's awful.
You felt that the moment you walked in. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up because I will never ask you for a cash out, a super chat, or a donation. You hitting that like button helps a great deal. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're subscribing now or already subscribed, make sure you hit the notification bell and select all. YouTube has issues getting the notifications out, but when you select all, YouTube will make sure you get notified when I upload new videos.
And you shared that with Bill, and he still continued to spend time with him?
Any of the questions remaining about what Bill's relationship there was, those are for Bill to answer.
Okay.
But I made it very clear how I felt about him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's real funny is you see Gayle King over there like, oh, really? When Oprah allegedly also has ties with Epstein, allegedly has flown 5 times, took her private jet and flew out to the island 5 times. This is all alleged. Everything in this video is alleged. Okay, except for we got video hearing from Melinda Gates herself and documentation that we're seeing, but just for protection purposes, allegedly. But Oprah's name is in the Epstein files. Why aren't they bringing her up? Matter of fact, have you heard about Oprah being in the Epstein files? Leave it in the comments for me. Now, to show you how deranged the Democrats are, everybody knows that Epstein is a PDF, right? Everybody knows it. But look at what Democrats, and this is just one. This is all across the internet. So you don't miss it. 1,500 Democrats agree that Jeffrey Epstein could do no wrong. So to show you how deranged they are, this is what this says. I am a lifelong Democrat. If Jeffrey Epstein says that Donald Trump is a bad person, then I am proud to say that I agree with Jeffrey Epstein and support everything he did, and every other Democrat agrees with me. So their Trump derangement is so bad that they side with a PDF after all of the damage. This should enrage women, but it won't. Democrat women will find a reason why they shouldn't be enraged at the fact that because they dislike Trump so much, it's okay what he did to those young girls, and it's not. But that's how deranged these folks are. But let's keep it moving. Right here, we got Congresswoman Haig, because Trump said, investigate them all. Watch how she's talking to Kash Patel. Watch how she reveals another Democrat was working with Epstein. Check this out. They've opened up Pandora's box, just like they always do. Their Trump derangement has been so bad that these folks have made some of the worst emotional decisions, whether it be during Biden's campaign, Kamala's campaign, and even now. Their decisions and their hatred cause them to make irrational, emotional decisions that not only have damaged people with the shutdown, as an example, but it's going to destroy them. Check this out.
I believe that you might have been asked earlier about whether you had an opportunity to visit with any of Epstein's legal counsel. Were you asked that question earlier?
I think so.
Okay. One of the legal counsels or legal fixers for Mr. Epstein was Stacey Plaskett, the Democrat delegate to Congress from the Virgin Islands. So perhaps for those on the other side who are interested in talking to Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys, they could sure visit with one of their own colleagues.
All right. You heard her. So let's get into Alan Dershowitz and see what he has to say. But even before that, listen to what Tim Burchett says about what happened when he wanted all the files released.
For this upcoming bill to release the Epstein files?
Yeah, that's why I just put a bill up. I just tried to move it ahead because what you're seeing right now is what exactly is going to happen, going to continue happening. Everybody's going to pull little piecemeal portions. Sorry about that. I got to animate. I'm sorry about this. They're going to pull portions of it out, and they're going to try to fit their own little narrative. Both sides are going to do it. You all know it. You're all going to feed upon it. Let's just get the dadgum bill out. Let's vote it out. And the Democrats oppose me on it. It's stupid. It's all about politics. It's not about taking care of young ladies who got abused, and we should take care of them. But there's a process in place. The Democrats have had it for 4 years and didn't do a dadgum thing. And you know, if Trump was in that thing, Biden arresting Kamala Harris, I mean, he's the Antichrist to them. They would have already had it out. What you got?
Now, so you heard him. Now let's get off into this. Listen to this. This high-ranking Democrat, Dick Durbin, who is terrified now because he's all in the mix. Well, watch how Marsha Blackburn bust him out, because he's trying to backtrack and he's trying to cover himself. And this is from 2023. Check this out. Now, on the heels of all this spy talk, I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video chapter, Seniors. Right now is open enrollment period. And if you're wondering, hey, what's going to be the best plan for me? How am I going to be able to save as much money as I can and maximize the resources that I need? Look no further than Chapter. Chapter is highly skilled and unbiased agents, and a free telephone call that can last less than 20 minutes can help you make sure that you've got the best Medicare plan available, because it would suck to be paying into a plan and your prescriptions aren't covered and you find out at the last minute that your doctor is no longer in network. Why take the risk? It's not worth it. You're far more worth it to make that phone call to that number on the screen or visit that website and just make sure that you have got the best Medicare plan available. Give Chapter a call and let them help you make the best decisions for your Medicare plan.
Senator Blackburn, before you leave, I want to make a point for the record, since I understand you made some statements about the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs. There's a Fox reporter in the hallway who asked me about this, and I said I had not spoken to you one time about this issue. I think you'll back me up on that. I'm not mistaken. I didn't know that this was even a subject of your amendments. I don't know anything about this request on your part. I'll be happy to discuss it with you. I haven't done any discussion with you to this point. Correct?
Mr. Chairman, I brought it up previously.
I want to point on the record, you and I have never personally discussed this, have we?
A subpoena to Jeffrey Epstein's estate to provide the flight logs for his private plane, given the numerous allegations of human trafficking and sexual abuse surrounding Mr. Epstein. I think it is very important that we identify everybody that was on that plane and how many trips they took on that plane and the destinations to which they arrived. In committee, I brought up the subject matter of my amendments.
Not my
3 weeks prior. Yes, sir. It was, I'll pull the transcript for you.
I wish you
Thank
would.
you.
I wish you would.
See Dick Durbin trying to weasel out of it and say, hey, you and I didn't know anything about it. Yes, you did. It's on record with her. Now, check this out. Jamie Raskin goes on Morning Joe. And this is pure gold. I won't even talk too much about this. Check this out.
You're saying release the files now. Why didn't the Biden administration, why didn't Merrick Garland release the files from 21 to 25? And if they didn't release the files then, why should they be released now?
You asked some excellent question.
Well, we never had a full-blown investigation, which is what, we were demanding.
That's not an answer.
State Congressman, you could have gotten that from 21 to 25 when Democrats controlled the DOJ. Why? It was a crisis then. It's a crisis now.
It's a good point.
Why didn't Democrats call for it from 21 to 25?
So, you have to go back and look specifically at particular prosecutorial decisions.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
Go back and look specifically at particular prosecutorial decisions.
What an idiot.
And what was taking place in terms of the other cases. So I don't know. We could try to reconstruct that record.
That's a non-answer.
He just said a whole bunch of gibberish because he knows it's true. They controlled the Senate, the House, and had the White House. Epstein wasn't a thing. They didn't even want to talk about it. Matter of fact, whenever anybody wanted to bring it up, they said, oh, that's old, that's done, that's finished. But when Trump got in office, all of a sudden, it became the most important thing in the world. Now, in our next clip, you're going to hear from Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz represented Epstein in his 2006 case in which he got a plea. And that was a weak plea deal. He pleaded for a year and a day. So for the damage that he did to the young girls, Alan Dershowitz, who is a highly skilled New York lawyer, was able to negotiate a plea for Epstein for a year and a day, which did send him to prison, but he had work release. Epstein was gone off site for 12 hours a day, working out of his mansions, allegedly. So it's not alleged that he had work release, and it's not alleged that he worked at home. I'm just throwing that in there in case any Democrat sees this and gets pissed off. But let's read this card that Alan Dershowitz sent to Jeffrey Epstein. This is December 11th, 2002. Dear Jeffrey, as a birthday gift to you, I managed to obtain an early version of the Vanity Unfair article. But you know it's Vanity Fair, but they call it Vanity Unfair. I talked them into changing the focus from you to Bill Clinton, as you will see from the enclosed excerpt. Happy birthday and best regards. Now, Dershowitz been to the island many times. As a matter of fact, Virginia Giuffre accused him. He's going to talk about it, but let me let him tell you about it himself. Check this interview out he did on Newsmax. And this one is a little lengthy, but you want to listen to it because it's got some meat on the bones. Check this out.
You've certainly been following this for a long time intimately. Your thoughts on all this?
Well, I'm glad all this is coming out. On the day I was falsely accused, I announced that I waive all privilege, all privacy. I want everything out. I want everything, because it would prove my innocence, and it did. And ultimately, the woman who accused me withdrew her accusation and said she may have confused me or misidentified me and dropped all charges against me. So for innocent people, the most important thing is get everything out. Now, in case of Donald Trump, the same person who accused me, Virginia Giuffre, stated that she never met Donald Trump earlier. She had never met him. She had seen him, but she had never met him. And then Jeffrey Epstein comes along and, he's very manipulative. And he says, oh, she was in the same house for hours at a time. Why would anybody believe Jeffrey Epstein? Suddenly the media has taken on Jeffrey Epstein as their darling. Oh, if he said it, it must be true. Or if Wolf said it, it must be true. Take these emails with a grain of salt. That's number one. Number two, you're not going to get the whole story. Even if the administration of the Justice Department turns out everything they have, what's being suppressed is being suppressed by 3 federal judges in New York. They are suppressing depositions. That's really important. That's not grand jury. Grand jury is nonsense. Depositions. I know. I was there at the depositions. I know who was deposed. I know what they said. I'm under a gag order and I can't say it. But the New York Times and Newsmax should be going to court and saying to the judges, we want transparency. We want you to do what Congress has done. Remove the seal and let everybody see these depositions.
What strikes me is that usually the seediest or the meatiest or whatever is the first to leak out the emails. These emails that have leaked out are pathetic because they don't say the president did anything wrong. What they did is they show how Michael Wolff, who would later write a book, was trying to get Epstein to sort of blackmail or say something about President Trump. And of course, that means, obviously Wolff hates Trump. That's what's so stunning to me. So if this is the gold, it's pretty pathetic.
No, I agree. And, I'm mentioned a couple of times in it. Jeffrey Epstein says that Donald Trump is borderline insane and that Dershowitz is close to it. And then he says I'm a terrible lawyer. So I'm really happy these came out because anybody who thinks I was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein after I represented him, after I was his lawyer, just read the emails. The guy hates my guts. And, we were fighting and we were suing each other. He thought I made the worst deal possible for him, that sweetheart deal, because he went to jail. And he terminated, and I terminated my relationship with him. I had an academic relationship. I used to go to all these conferences with all these Nobel Prize winners and big shots. I loved them, but I stopped going once I realized who Jeffrey Epstein was.
The other thing is that it's very easy to have a broad brush and blame anybody who remotely came in contact with him, even anybody who got a ride on his plane. And it's like, the lawyer in me wants everyone to sort of actually focus on the evidence, like who did what and whether this person did something wrong, not whether somebody knew him.
Of course, no. I was on his plane. I was his lawyer. He would send his plane for all of his lawyers. I went to his island. When he first bought the island, he invited me and my wife and my 10-year-old daughter to come and see his island. We had dinner with Michael Porter, a professor at Harvard. We stayed one night. There were no young people there, but I was on the island and I was on the plane. And a woman accused me. And then the woman ultimately said she may have misidentified me. She may have wrong person and all that. So I got completely vindicated and completely absolved of everything. But there are many other people who have been falsely accused, I think. And that's why it's important to turn everything out, because everything should be turned out. I'll give you an example. There's a woman named Sarah Ransom. She said she had videotapes of Donald Trump, of Hillary Clinton, of Bill Clinton, and of Branson, the guy from the airline.
Richard Branson.
Of them having sex with young boys and girls. And she circulated them all around. She sent them to the New York Post, sent them all over. And ultimately, she admitted, made the whole story up. There were no tapes. And there are other women like that too. Most of the women, most of the victims are real victims, but there are exploitive people there who never met Epstein, who just got online to get money. And it's very important that everything come out so that people who are accused have the due process right to confront their accusers and prove that they didn't do it by the evidence that's in the case. So I think everybody.
Well, and that,
So as you heard, now Dershowitz, he was working hard to make sure we understood that he wasn't involved in it. And he was clear. If I'm not mistaken, he mentioned that 2, maybe 3 times. But did you hear what he said? He was the lawyer. And in the emails, they said that Dershowitz was insane and he was a terrible lawyer. So the fact that Epstein was saying Trump was a bad guy, when a bad guy says you're a bad guy, it may actually mean you're a good guy. If he would have said Trump's an all right guy, the media would have then said, oh, look at him, he loves Trump. But the fact that he said, oh, Trump's a bad guy, oh, look at him, Epstein is right. Because they think Trump is bad since Epstein said it's bad. It's the whole, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So now Democrats are on the record publicly saying they support Epstein, which is nuts. It's nuts. Now check this out. This was his lawyer in the more recent one. Let me go back and look at what this one. It seems important to post this video again by Epstein's attorney. Trump got involved in Epstein's 2008 legal case to help victims when no one else was willing to. Let's check out what he says.
One more question on that document, and this goes to the more salacious rumors, but I would like you to just, whatever you can say on it. Obviously, our current president has had relationships with Epstein in the past, and there are those, Katie Johnson and maybe other victims who accuse Trump of being involved in things like this. In my experience, Trump supporters will not listen to anything along those lines. Obviously, we're not a court of law here right now, but are those claims of though that case was dropped, it was dropped before it went to court. In your opinion, as a lawyer and your experience, is there anything you can say as to the validity of those claims, or whether or not there will be any more about that?
Nothing at all. The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
And that was in 2009?
That was in 2009. So,
do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that. Yeah. I definitely heard that. I don't know that it was Trump himself as opposed to a manager there.
Trump's club, so
yeah,
people credit him.
I've heard the rumor that Epstein was kicked out of there for allegedly trying to pick up somebody's daughter or something like that. But I think I did chase that down as far as I could and never was able to confirm it. But
So now you just heard from 2 of Epstein's lawyers who both championed Trump, saying, hey, listen, not only did he not do anything, the man actually tipped off the FBI, didn't have to be deposed. He volunteered giving up information, booted him out of Mar-a-Lago when he found out that he was hitting on young girls. And then we even got the email from Epstein himself where he says Trump was telling Ghislaine to stop it, to stop whatever they were doing, to stop it. And I saying Trump was the dog that didn't bark. What that could possibly mean is Trump knows or may have had some knowledge of what was going on, but Epstein didn't know yet, but Trump had already tipped off the FBI. So I believe when he say Trump was the dog that didn't bark, is him saying he's not snitching, but little did he know Trump had already started that seed, he already planted that seed, and it bore its fruit. And now look, we got Epstein, who is allegedly no longer here. We got the Democrats going hard, trying to focus all the attention on Trump when we know there's documented proof of a long list of Democrats that have been on that island and who were accused by women as doing stuff. But it's funny how the mainstream media and the Democrats don't seem to be so concerned about Bill or Barack or Reed or any of them. But the orange man, 100%. Even though every time they keep throwing stuff up against the wall against the orange man, it never sticks. And so what's happening is the Democrats are turning like the boy that said the sky is falling, where they say it so much that nobody believes it. So I just wanted to bring you this information to let you know it is heating up, and I believe we're going to see a whole lot of prosecutions. And the fact that he even included J.P. Morgan, Chase Bank, he's included several other financial institutions. You know Trump is not playing because he's including corporations and people saying, okay, which means you already know he knows. He's a former president that gets intelligence on levels that we can't even imagine. He knows where the bodies are buried. Now, he's going to start digging them up. So we're going to see how this goes. But if you've hung out with me this long, I really do appreciate you. I want to thank you from the top and bottom of my heart. If you haven't already, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. If you haven't hit that like button yet, hit the like button. And if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Most importantly, I want you to stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.